First of all, apologies. I'm working my way through something. The voice, it's struggled.
I remember when they first invented chocolate.
Last time I covered Demon Slayer on this channel, 2021. I'm excited to talk about this part 1. Is it epic? Is it worth it? Will my voice hold up? So we saw Tanjiro and the rest of the Demon Slayers ambushing Muzan, who is, of course, the ultimate Demon King, and trying to put an end to his centuries of slaughter. Yeah, so not only do you need to decapitate this guy, but you have to expose him to sunlight as well. And so enter Infinity Castle, this alternate dimension, as far away from the sun as physically possible. It's filled with all of these structures and directions. It kind of reminded me of something out of a Christopher Nolan movie. My brain goes to Interstellar, but then I start to think of Inception and just the layout, the production design, the way that it looks and feels. Everything about this was visually stunning. And so not only do you have these awesome fight sequences and things that we're used to from Demon Slayer, and I do always love the production design, but you have this fantastic, consistently moving set that all of our heroes are, trying to find their way out of, trying to find their way back together because they are separated. And so this is going to make for some very intimate moments. It's going to make for plenty of flashbacks and character build-up sequences that we're used to from Demon Slayer, but also it allows us to explore this Infinity Castle in a way that, I anticipated it to be in-depth and in detail, but it truly will captivate you in movie form, 2 hours and 30 minutes. And so I do want to go back real quick. God, my voice sounds so bad. You got this, man. So again, the goal here is to get Muzan back into the sunlight, but really the goal here, it being a part 1, and this is Infinity Castle Part 1, and so you're going to get so many moments that feel like they're strictly there just to build up with no payoff, because the payoff is definitely coming. But because of that, it is going to slow down the pacing of this film, how it kind of gets us from point A to a very lengthy point B by the end of this film. And I'm not talking as a whole, I'm just talking individually, character-wise. I do want to talk about my relationship with Demon Slayer. Obviously, my review back in 2021, I was caught up on the series until that point, and then fast forward a little bit, and I don't watch it for about 2 years. And so I just recently, a few months back, finally caught up because I got season 3 out of the way, waited a while longer, and just recently finished season 4. This is not a show that I cover on this channel. It's one of those leisure watches that I enjoy not having to consistently talk about. Everyone has those shows, right? And it's not that I don't want to talk about Demon Slayer, but I just love not making it work, because it's so interesting and unique and creative. And specifically in the world of animation, we're always trying to find those unique projects that just feel so distinct from everything else that we're watching. And the idea of Demon Slayer in general is awesome. The way that it starts in season 1, and I know a lot of people have issues and complaints about season 1 not living up to the rest of the show, but I, for one, was enamored the first time I saw it. Tanjiro's family is massacred. His sister is a demon. He vows to find a cure. And so you start to learn about these demons, the Demon Slayers, Muzan's 12 Moons, learning about the Hashiras, being introduced to all of these characters, and supporting players that may or may not get lost along the way. I know season 4, we didn't have the supporting cast that we know and love from the other seasons, but you're introduced to new characters that can hopefully take that role. And thus we get into Infinity Castle. And this is supposed to be the final arc to Demon Slayer. And as someone who is semi-familiar with the manga but has never actually read it, I believe it came to us all the way back in 2016, this is a story that I find to be inventive, and I'm sure people love it, but being brought to life with such a distinct and just cool animation style. Every battle is memorable for a reason, and I'm talking specifically about this movie. There are numerous battles, and yeah, you've got everything going on in between, but I love the look of this movie. I love the score of this film, and I think the music's doing a lot of work here, making these moments and some of these monologues feel so epic. I won't say who it is, you could probably guess, but there's a monologue in here about death and how there's nothing left. Your body and your brain go silent, how brutal that concept is, and it takes place right before this excellent battle. Kind of in the midst of it, but I found that to be so wholly authentic because of just the way everything comes together, the music, the drop-off of the music, the voice cast in general, the way the characters speak to each other, and then consistently going back and kind of revisiting these memories and moments and flashbacks with characters, a very anime thing, right? We see that all the time, and plenty of exposition in this film, as there is all throughout Demon Slayer, which I don't mind in a setting like this, but, I mean, there are times in this film where a flashback will last a little too long, and it kind of takes away from the pacing, and so I wasn't super enthused about seeing that in a 2.5-hour movie setting. Usually it works just fine in an episode, but it's always capped off with an amazing battle, or an awesome set piece, or exploring this Infinity Castle and just being able to see the way everything works in the background, man. I mean, just going from episode to episode to this grand cinematic experience, kind of like I did in 2021, except this one is, it's funny, this one is less episodic in nature because it feels like a full concrete movie, but at the same time, it's a part one. And so the same way some people will feel about a film like Across the Spider-Verse being a part two, or, you know, movies that don't fully give that payoff immediately, you have to sit in anticipation for part two to come out. And I don't think part two is coming out until like 2027. So that hurts my soul.
I always hated it.
Character-wise, I love the role that Shinobu plays here. We get some excellent moments. Zenitsu, obviously one of my favorite characters. Tanjiro's fight with the upper three, but Tanjiro and Giyu teaming up, and then obviously Akaza, otherwise known as Upper Moon 3. The role that is played in this film, and love him or hate him, this is a character that I just had a phenomenal time with. Realizing how complex this character, if you dive into Akaza's past and how his fighting moves are based on memories, how really sad that backstory is, what caused him to become this demon, how this demon feels about going after women. I mean, there's so much complexity there that I had to just kind of go and explore, both before and after this movie, to really give you the build-up that you need for the role that Akaza has in this film. And my God, man, just, it's the exact presence that I needed. I do want to talk about those flashbacks really quick because, again, that's taking up a lot of time in the film. But some of these flashbacks, as we expect in Demon Slayer, are brutal, bloody, violent. Children getting beaten. One character has their ribs broken. There's internal bleeding going on. You can hear the gurgling. There's fists going through heads. Everything that you've come to expect, but maybe even more violent on the big screen. And then you got the cannon fodder, aka the demons that we know are going to die. They are there for our characters to use their powers against, and it's violent, but it's super entertaining, and it's so much fun to see our characters, where they started, where they are now, how they are separated, some of them in groups, so not fully 1v1 battles. There's actually one battle that is 2v1, and it's one that everyone's been waiting on, and it was spectacular. But it's interesting to see how they're going to come back together, but really learning a lot about them along the way. This is a story of trauma and emotion and tragedy, and because we're getting so much of that, it does occasionally take away from the present. So again, I go back to really my only critique of this is I didn't fully love the pacing of Infinity Castle compared to some of the episodes. And that's where the episodic structure versus the movie structure could start to compete with each other. Does that mean I had a bad time? Absolutely not. This was an incredible, wholly unique, and just top-tier anime experience in the theater as someone who loved Demon Slayer, took a break, finally caught up, and was emotionally invested in the right way going into this movie. So if you love Demon Slayer, I think you're going to love this, even if you have a few issues. If you've never seen Demon Slayer before, they do catch you up over the first 5 minutes, but I think to have those emotional attachments that you need, it's something that you should probably do. I'm not going to tell you need to, but you probably should. Before I give you my score, what did you think of Infinity Castle Part 1? Will you be back in 2 years? That's a long wait. If you enjoyed this video and you managed to get past my voice, drop a like if you want, share this video, hit the hype button in the comments. I don't know if that does anything. Infinity Castle delivers a top-tier anime experience that longtime fans will anticipate entering the theater. The emotions are on full display, there's never a dull moment visually, and the score is spectacular. The pacing may occasionally stumble, but it is all leading us to an epic payoff. This is part of a greater experience, and I expect the next two to be even better. Maybe those are lofty expectations. I also expect to be able to speak more clearly in my next video. So thanks so much for watching. I'm going to go gargle with some salt water.